classic brutalist image of a departure from the firm is from the finance industry. The departee is handed a garbage bag to collect their chattels and are unceremoniously stripped of their entry badges and marched out of the building by security. No one is told anything and no explanations are given. When I was studying Chinese politics at Griffith University, I remember that Chinese Communist Party leaders who had fallen out of favour were subsequently airbrushed from memory in group photographs. Finance industry departures are a bit like that when people are disappeared. How are people fired at your company? What do you tell the survivors, or do you say nothing? Japan is a very group-oriented society, and disappearing their colleagues is always felt strongly by those left behind. What about when people leave of their own accord? How do you explain that? Or again, are you silent on the matter? Japan has a few requirements you might like to think about. Welcome back to this weekly edition, every Tuesday, of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President of Dale Carnegie Training Japan and best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center in Akasaka in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we'll all be at the forefront, the cutting edge of how to succeed and how to flourish in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. A hypothetical eruption of Mount Fuji could rain volcanic ash on Tokyo and push the capital into a state of paralysis, according to a government report. Mount Fuji is an active volcano located only 100 kilometres from Tokyo. If more than 10 centimetres of ash fell in Tokyo's 23 key wards, it would render roads useless, stopping the flow of people and goods to the city. Just 0.5 centimetres of ash could cause mechanical problems for cars and adverse health effects, particularly for the eyes and lungs. More than 1 centimetre of ash could cause power outages and water filtration systems to fail. The government estimates the damages and losses would total $23 billion. Mount Fuji has shown no signs of volcanic activity since the 1960s, but there have been 10 large-scale eruptions since the year 781. We get a lot of earthquakes here, but we rarely consider the possibility of a major volcanic eruption. After the 2011 triple nuclear reactor meltdowns, a radioactive cloud swept over Tokyo, and we all stopped drinking the water from the taps until it had been flushed out of the water filtration system. I didn't leave Tokyo then, but if we had a major volcanic eruption, then I think I will be packing up the car and hightailing it north immediately. In other news, the Japanese government is expected this year to ease rules so drone pilots can fly multi-copters even without visual tracking. This is a prerequisite for the start of drone deliveries of goods to homes. Last year in the city of Ina in Nagano Prefecture, they tested drone delivery. This is considered an effective means to deliver daily necessities to elderly people who have limited mobility. Takeshi Ueda, senior manager of the Postal Business Planning Division at Japan Post, says, we are looking into the possibilities of new technologies that can improve efficiency. One candidate is drones. Japan Post has been running tests in rural areas to see where the potential problems are located for drone delivery. Rakuten has also been testing deliveries. The company said people can order what they need now with an app, and then a drone will bring it to them immediately. We believe a world like this will come. The Drone Pilot Association estimates that 140,000 drone pilots will be needed by 2020. The number of drone pilot schools jumped from 43 to 154 in 9 months, from June last year to March this year. Brave new world, here we come. This is episode number 49, and we are talking about how to keep staff departure damage to a minimum. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. In most Western economies, a colleague's farewell is no big deal, just part of the general tapestry of business. If there is some turnover and the recently departed are being replaced, then that is considered the natural order of things and life moves on. Managers applying a typical Western business approach to departures in Japan, however, may skip the need to communicate with those left behind. Underestimating the emotional component of colleagues' departures and separations here is a big mistake. Most Western enterprises are dry rather than wet ecosystems. Dry meaning logical, ordered, efficient, unemotional, competitive, and oriented around Darwinian survival of the fittest. Wet, on the other hand, is more emotional, nuanced, interdependent, harmonious, inefficient, and more forgiving of human frailties. Japan much prefers wet to dry work environments. The unexpected announcement of the coming disappearance of a workmate can cause a degree of consternation amongst the troops that is probably not anticipated or even sensed by Western trained managers. If there is no boss awareness of the issue, there is no imperative for communication around the departure topic. Voluntary departures should not be ignored as chances to direct the communication amongst the troops and the team. Just because staff departures are no big deal to you, the Japanese staff don't necessarily share your dry view of the working world. Don't let the rumour mill crank up and the information vacuum be filled by negative messaging. If the departure is voluntary, don't assume there is no assurance needed for those who remain to know that everything is still stable, safe, and predictable. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear, and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now. Welcome back. Explaining to each person what is going on is the leader's job. The team want the assurance that they are not also going to be shown the door. They may wonder that the departing colleagues are bailing out early because they know something the others don't. Assure them that there are still oodles of opportunity to advance in their careers, or you might see good staff leave. If there has been a poor performance issue that is driving the team member's departure, those staying need to hear that the survivors are valued and why the person's departure is the best thing for them and the organisation. In Japan, the group, not the individual, is key. In this type of high-density environment, too much individualism is thought to be plain dangerous. The herd feels safety in numbers and in the known. Staff happiness, well, that requires as little disruption as possible to the established harmonious order. Leaders need to explain the why of what is going on. 3 factors determine employee engagement levels in companies: our relationship with our immediate supervisor, our belief in the direction being taken by senior management, and our pride in the organisation. Departures, when not properly handled, negatively impact all 3. The key emotional trigger to getting higher levels of engagement is feeling value. Those who are left behind need that conversation with their boss that they are valued. Bone-dry leaders won't get it or won't bother. They will subsequently wonder why the levels of engagement, commitment, innovation, and motivation are so low in the team. To successfully lead in Japan and beat the competition, you need a more highly engaged team. When it's sayonara time, get wet. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube. Share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. It is awesome value, so check it out. In episode 50, we're talking about how to deal with stage fright. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you, and we have only one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.